Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV, the only place to be for the pre-match pump-up, and it's the first day of a new season for Tottenham Hotspur. First game, cannot wait, so excited. And I'm joined by a wonderful panel. I've got Jimbo, the other half of Kate and Jimbo. I've got Nick, Lazy 8, super fan from New York. And we've got Mr. Chang over in Malaysia. Jimbo, first of all, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, darling. Very confident today. Nice big score for us.
Let's hope so. Start the season on a bang, or with a bang, should I say? Nick, how are you? How are you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm amped. I'm feeling good. You know what? I'm always excited at the beginning of a season, and it's new season, new manager, his first game at the stadium. I mean, there's a lot to be excited for. I will have to admit, though, playing as well as we did on Wednesday and not getting it over the line did bring me down to earth a little bit right now. But, it's good to be a little bit grounded going into a Premier League season because there's a lot of expectations.
Yeah, exactly. There was more positives than negatives, I think, on the game against PSG. But, yeah, the big negative, of course, was not getting it over the line. Mr. Chang, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling well, feeling very reinvigorated and energized for today's first ever, match week for Spurs as we get things underway at home against Burnley. Can't wait for kickoff and absolutely looking forward to the rest of this pre-match pump-up, Miss Kate. Having said that, it's back to you.
Yeah, and you know what? Today... Why is there an echo? I don't know whose mic's echoing. I don't know, but I can hear it every now and again. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's the voices in my head. Who knows? But it's our first game. It's against Burnley. Our first day of the seasons. Over the last 8 matches on the opening weekend, we've only lost 1. So that's a good omen to start off with. Burnley, however, have strengthened. They've brought in Broja from Chelsea. They've brought in the likes of Marcus Edwards, who used to be at Spurs. They've brought in the likes of Carl Walker, Jimbo, obviously well known at Spurs and City. Do you expect to see a different Burnley this time, or are we expecting the normal low block, defend, and then just try and get us on a counter?
I mean, it'd be a different Burnley, Kate. This is a different team. They brought a lot of new players in, but look, they've got a good defensive record. I think it was 29 games they let in 16 goals.
Yeah,
or something like that. I mean, it was they kept untold clean sheets. But look, we're talking a different level, Championship to Premiership. They're come back to the big boys now. Let's see how they do. I tipped them to go back down, but Parker seems to be a good manager. He's done well to get them up. But as I said, this is a different league now. It's not the Championship. So we'll see today what they're all about. But it's different. It's a lot of different players. So I expect it to be a bit different. But the low block can still be there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you thinking the same, Nick?
I mean, I think that we're probably, as the season progresses, we're going to see some changes, and they keep out a lot of goals, but they sure as hell don't score a lot of goals. So
Yeah.
they're going to have to make adjustments to that as the season goes on. But I think coming to us for the first game of the season, it would be suicidal for them to switch up. I think that they're going to have to revert to type and just try to keep us out, because if they've been doing any homework right now on our preseason, we're struggling to put away our chances too. So they have a chance if they're going to go hard against us.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. And what about you, Mr. Chang? Obviously, Scott Parker, ex-Tottenham player as well. You expecting this low block Burnley to come back and haunt us this year?
I mean, honestly, I think any team who wants to get anything out of their first match of the new season away from home, if they know that they don't have what it takes to go toe to toe with the home side, then the low block would be the best way to go about it. And with Scott Parker and possibly even, Carl Walker, I think that's going to be the case this afternoon. At the lane, and absolutely looking forward to see how we cope without any creativity. I know we went about our business against PSG with much ease, but against Burnley, seeing as how the players themselves had just played a couple days prior on a Wednesday night, I think it's going to be kind of difficult to see how we try to break them down. But yeah, this is something that I am looking forward to see what else does Thomas Frank have in store for us. And yes, long may we be scoring freely at the lane with or without creativity.
Yeah, I think we've got to touch on this before we go on to the game. Jimbo, we was just talking about this literally 10 minutes ago. The picture of Savino posted, he's at the gym with a big smile on his face. Doesn't look particularly injured to me. Do you think this is a positive sign that he's going to be on his way to Spurs and we could be getting a here we go quite soon?
I watched Pep's interview, and Pep's the type of guy in his interviews. He doesn't give anything away. I mean, any interview I've watched with him, he gives nothing away, and they prod and poke at him to get information from him. But he only answers what he wants to answer. And then they said to him about Savino, and he said, "Well, he hasn't knocked on my door and asked to leave." So, but look, he's not going to say anything, is he?
No.
It's just like an unwritten rule between the managers that they don't talk about other people's players, and they don't talk about a player leaving if he's going to leave. Not unless it's near enough done. But he said he's left out the squad because he's got a slight knock, and then he posts a picture of himself working out in the gym. That says it all. But it looked. I think Tottenham have offered 70 million euros, and they want 80 million. So I would imagine, not that I've ever done a deal that big, but I would imagine they're meeting in the middle.
Yeah,
that's what I would think, or it'd be 70 and 10 add-ons or something like that. But I would expect at the end of the weekend we know.
Nick, what's your thoughts? Do you think we're going to get one of Savino or Eze, both, neither? How are you feeling about these potential signings? Has Nick just gone?
I think he might be timing out. Yeah, I'm seeing him timing out. He will be back soon.
There we go. He's back.
Sorry, I did that to myself. Keep going. Pay no attention.
Nick, what do you think we're going to get one of Savino, Eze, both? I mean, how are you feeling?
I frankly think we're bringing in three players. I'm very much glass half full as that goes. I know I'm delusional is a word that you could throw at me and beat me up with all day. But everything is pointing in the direction of we have to fill the holes. I mean, I hate to say an injury to a player is a great thing, but the Madison situation, as far as the broader view of what the club need to do to progress, may have been the best thing to get Levy to pull out his checkbook. To really the Gibbs White situation. I prefer Eze over Gibbs White all day, in my personal opinion. I know people are divided on that. And clearly we need some kind of superstar signing to fill up that left-hand side, because I don't think, especially from what we've seen in the preseason, Tell or Odebear are really doing it for people as Sonny's replacement right now. So there's, we have to give not only Frank the tools that he needs, but we have to continue with some kind of streak of positivity for the fan base. And I think, the board, if you want to call it Levy or the board right now, they're starting to finally come to grips with the fact that it has to be sustained movements over many years, continuously progressing. It can't just be a little, everybody gets happy, and then you revert back to type. So, yeah, I do think we're getting both of them.
Excellent. I hope you're right, Nick. I like the positivity. Chang, are you of that opinion?
Well, I certainly do hope so. And for me, actually, I would rather we get the business done sooner rather than later. I mean, who knows? Who knows what could have happened on Wednesday night had we had Paulinia in our ranks a whole lot sooner, if he had more fitness to last the whole 90 rather than limp off slightly just short of the hour mark. And I mean, we've been here before, Miss Kate. We've seen this so often and so many times now with Enoch and Daniel Levy, where I just wonder, I really do wonder sometimes, where would we be had we not, or rather, where would we be right now if we had just gotten players over the line sooner rather than later? Just look at last season, the last minute deals, or rather the last minute signings for Odebeer and Solanke in itself is proof ready of what you need to know. And I mean, it's better to get someone rather than no one, even if it's on deadline day. But yeah, we've been here before, and I really do hope that Daniel Levy and Enoch learn some lessons from past mistakes from previous transfer windows. Let's just hope that it's not too late to get these players over the line before we even get gazumped or hijacked, which is almost Spursy, in a way. So yeah, let's get this deal done and dusted, and let's get our season well underway. Having said that, back to you, Miss Kate.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's frozen, eh?
Yeah, a win stays a must, or the meltdowns would be unbearable. He still froze. I'm sure he'll be back. But yeah, I agree. Look, we're known for not bringing in the players early enough. With Solanke didn't even have a pre-season. But I have put out who I think will start the match today. This is my expected 11. It's only my own personal opinion. This is not confirmed for anyone who thinks that I am indeed Thomas Frank in disguise. I expect him to start Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Spence. He's already come out and said Udogie's not quite ready. Benton Kerr, Kudus, Sarr, Richarlison and Odebear is my prediction for the starting 11. I think he will keep Solanke on the bench because of his coming back to fitness. I think he'll play more of a 4-2-3-1 this time, rather than sort of differently to how we played against PSG. Jimbo, do you see that as the starting lineup, or do you see anything different?
I'm not sure if he put Basuma in today instead of Benton Core. I think there might be one or two changes in there, but I think that'd be the core of the team. Maybe Basuma, it'd be Odebear or Tell. He might want to give Tell a bit of confidence because of what happened to him and start him. But I
Johnson is Johnson is possible, of course. I haven't put him in.
Yeah.
But, I don't think he starts Biss. I think the punishment will be he doesn't start. I don't think he starts Tell either because of the abuse that he suffered. But Nick, what do you think on that potential starting 11?
Somebody's saying the lineup is dropped too. I think that what you got there is the most likely lineup. I know a lot of people have Johnson on the left, just as an attacking threat. And I wouldn't be surprised. Let me throw this at you, though. Is there a shout for Richarlison on the left, Solanke up top? I think he was sluggish and he's not fully match fit. But how's he going to get match fit? I think even if he's just a plank and he's trying to hold up, he's useful for at least the first 60 minutes. And then you could start shuffling around, chopping and changing. And if Richie is still fit, you can move him into the center, then bring somebody like Odegaard, Tell in there. I think our best goal-scoring options would be to have both Rich and Dominic Solanke with Kudus on there. And we need to try to score early and put the pressure on these guys. I haven't heard anybody. I may be completely out of my mind with that one. So what did he go with?
We've got the lineup. We've got Vicario in goal. We've got Richarlison. We've got Gray in there. So I was wrong there. We've got Bergvall in there. He's wrong there. Romero captain, obviously. Kudus. Johnson starts. Pedro Porro, Spence, Sarr, Van der Ven. I don't know why they've put them in that order.
Yeah.
Do you know why? I was about to say that.
Do
Okay, if you notice, if you look carefully, those
The
names
numbers.
are correct. Yes, they are arranged. Yeah, numerically ascending. It's been arranged numerically ascending, which I find rather strange. I have no idea why
That is
they do
very
that.
strange. But the subs are Kinski, Danso, Polinia, Tell, Vuskovic, Solanke, Odegaard, Bentancur, and Davis. Now, I'm going to put this to you, Chang. To me, that's not a very defensive lineup. That looks like we're going for creativity and looking to go at them. I don't know what you think, but compare that to against PSG, it's completely different.
Yes, and I fully agree with you because Bergvall starting tells me that we're going to try to get him to pull the strings in midfield and hope on Archie Gray and Sarr to be his anchor behind him. So we have a relatively young midfield. That midfield trio of Gray, Romero, and Sarr. What the average is 21, 22, or maybe even 23 between the three of them. So that's a very, very young midfield that we're trying to, get the most out of. But everywhere else up front, we have Prue, Richarlison himself, and behind them, we have Van der Ven and Romero to shore up that centre back. And we have the ever reliable Porro and Spence on fullbacks. So that tells me that we are sort of building around this midfield trio. Hopefully, they will be able to prove to Thomas Frank and us Spurs fans that we won't be missing the likes of Madison or Kulusevski anytime soon. Although I do wish for either of them to be back sooner rather than later. And if that midfield trio doesn't work out, guess what? We still have Polinia and Benson Kur to get off to call from the bench. So that for me is strength in that sense. But let's just wait and see. No pressure whatsoever on that young midfield trio of Bergvall, Gray, and also Sarr. Let's just see how the first half pans out. And if things aren't working well, I'm going to put my bottom dollar that Thomas Frank will make the substitutions earlier rather than later, unlike Big Ange. Having said that, back to you, Miss Kate.
Yeah, you will notice Basuma didn't even make it to the bench.
Didn't make the bench, yeah. So that speaks volumes, I think, about his
future. I mean, he said in his interview that he was going to be in the squad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think either he's been late again, or they've accepted a bid for him. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we'll ever see him in a Spurs shirt again. You want to know the truth? There is a little bit of breaking news away from the game today. Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted that Eze has informed Palace about his desire to join Tottenham. Talks are progressing as Eze has already said yes to the Spurs project. He wants to make his move this month. Nothing is done yet, but Eze hopes for the move ASAP. So that's quite a positive tweet to come out before the game. I mean, Jimbo, what do you make of this lineup? Like I said, it's completely the opposite to PSG.
Look, all I hear people say, right, time and time again, if you're going to play the youngsters, play them against the lower teams in the Premier League. And Burnley are a lower team in the Premier League. So he's put the youngsters in, right? Yeah. He's got some experience in there. He's got Richarlison, Romero, Kudus, Johnson's experience now. He's got Porro, Spence, Sarr, Van der Ven, all experienced players now. So he's put Graham Bergville in. But Bergville, I think he's quite experienced. You know, he's had a good few games.
He's
So
been poor pre-season, though. He has been poor this pre-season.
yeah, but you can't just leave him out every game because he's been poor in pre-season.
Agreed.
Right, so he stuck them in this game, which I think is a pretty good move, and we can see how they go. But at least they've got some good players around them, you know, if they're having a bad game. I mean, look, Gray, everyone was blaming Gray and Tell for the other day because when they come on, they didn't get much of a chance. They weren't on for long, was they? And the other players were tired, and PSG upped their game. So it was a bit of a no-win for them. But let's see how they do today.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone's just been sent off in the Villa game.
Oh, have they? Just quickly, I will share the Burnley lineup. They've got Dubravka in goal. They've got obviously Carl Walker there playing, Hartman, Esteve, Foster, Anthony, Ekdal, Son, Cullen, Hannibal, and Laurent. Then they've got Weiss, Worrell, Brune Larson, Uga Chukwu from Chelsea, Edwards, Chauna, Fleming, Ramsey, and Perez. Not the Perez we know from Arsenal, thank goodness. But yeah, I'm not going to claim to say I know anything about Burnley this season. I know nothing.
Yeah, do we know who their captain is?
No, they haven't said. I would imagine.
Yeah, you think it's Kyle Walker? He walks right into captains.
But I mean, I would say there's no Broja who they've signed. He's not even on the bench, which is surprising to me. Maybe he's got an injury. I don't know. But that's the Burnley lineup. I'm not going to go into it too much unless anyone else has got any expertise on how Burnley's, what their key players are or anything like that, because I know nothing about Burnley.
Your guess is as good as mine there, Kate.
Yeah. But look, Nick, a lot of people, obviously, we know Tell was subject
not great.
to awful racism, but
yeah,
taking aside that, which is never acceptable, Gray came on, Tell came on. They're both young guys, but they really offered nothing against PSG. How are you feeling about these guys?
I think Tell we got to give Tell a little bit of space. You know, he's all indications are he's very confident in his own abilities. He's resilient. We just need to, reintegrate him back in and build up his confidence again. However, we clearly know, at least from what the signs are of what profile we're going for right now, we don't think either he or Odegaard are the finished article as the winger that we need to be our starting winger right now. So, get the pressure off him, get him some minutes today, without a doubt. Even if the chips are down, I'm concerned about Johnson more than I'm concerned about Tell, frankly. I see. You know what? I saw Tell live against Manchester United, his second game, and he was the most impressive person on the pitch for me. He was getting himself about. He was drawing in players. He was holding up the ball well, and that version of him kind of faded out, as he was expected to play more and more in the 9. I don't see that there's any reason why he can't be an effective player. It's just he's not fully ready to take on that responsibility right now. Gray being in the starting lineup right now instead of Palhinha or Bentancur surprises the hell out of me. It really does. I would have thought that in that position, in the 6 right now, you need a very experienced head. So I don't know. That one's got me confused. I hope it turns out well. I'm expecting, at least in the midfield, an early change. Something, with at least after the half. And if things are going wrong, even earlier than that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is obviously we've got to manage Palhinha's minutes because of his age and the fact, his fitness levels and what have you. But I thought if he didn't play, that Bentancur would be sure to start. But Mr. Chang, what do you make in the midfield? I mean, I'm still trying to find out what formation it is, really. A lot of people are saying, there's all different rumours of what it's going to be. So I don't know how exactly it's going to lay out. Is it going to be... Let me look. 4 at the back.
Every week we play, right? It's going to be very hard to work out a formation with this manager because he's that type of manager. He goes by the team he's playing. You know, he's very astute. You know, astute, and it's going to be very hard until they're actually on the pitch to work out what he's going to do.
Well, I shan't bother trying to work it out then. If that's the case, I shall wait and see and let it be an excitement. Yeah, see, look, some saying 4-3-3, some saying 4-2-3-1. Look, we'll see. But I mean, are you concerned, Mr. Chang, about our midfield not having that sort of leader role of a Polina or a Benton Kerr? Because Bergvall, Gray, both very young. I mean, Sarr obviously ran his socks off against PSG, was absolutely incredible. But I mean, how do you feeling about those two not playing?
Well, I
And
can only hope.
Basuma as well. Sorry.
Yeah, I can only hope that Thomas Frank knows what he's doing, and if anything, it just shows that cup final against PSG has taken a load out of the likes of Betancourt and Palhinha.
Yeah.
I really do hope that we have the legs to even last this whole 90, seeing as how Van der Ven and Romero, our goal scorers on Wednesday night, they themselves are, up for it. And if not, well, thankfully we have Danso, and I believe I saw, was it Dragushin? Oh no, it's Vuskovic. Okay, so yeah, we still have options, we still have backup, but I really do hope that Romero proves his leadership quality today, and that should be evident when we hopefully keep the clean sheet today. But my concern is actually moving forward, or rather getting the ball forward, just so long as both Sar and Gray. For me, the key here is Sar and Gray. Do they have that understanding, that partnership, or even that sort of synchronity to work in tandem as a double pivot to allow Bergvall that opportunity to just play his football and bring our forwards into the game? That I think is going to be very, very telling. And for me, I would say that between the two of them, Sar is the more important. I mean, no disrespect, absolutely no disrespect to Archie Gray. I know he's a great player with loads of talent, and he's only at the beginning of his journey. But for me, I think the game will be won and lost through Pepe Matassar. He, for me, would be our single most important player of today. And if things don't work out well for Sar come halftime, well, there's always the backup of Bentancur and Palhinha to call upon. So that for me is strength in depth in a ways before we even get Eze or Savinho through the door. Having said that, back to you, Miss Kate.
Yeah, I hear you. We've got over 300 in there and we've got 65 likes. For the first game of the Premier League season, that's atrocious. So please do smash the likes, guys. I mean, Jim Chang, sorry, I forgot your name for a minute there. Chang saying he thinks Sar's going to be a key man. I think Spence is going to be massive today because we saw how brilliant he was against PSG. He can run down the wing. I think Spence and Porro both going to be really important for us today because they're going to play a low block. So we're going to need to try and get through that low block or counter them, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, who do you see as being a key person for us today?
I think Johnson's going to be important today because he's the man who gets in the right places at the right time, and we're going to need someone like that today. I think with the low block, so I think that he's going to be important. But look, I say it every week, Kate, when you ask me. I think if you want to win games, all 11 have got to be on point. I said it before the PSG game. You know, when you ask me, who do we need to step up? We need them all to step up. You're in the Premiership now, you know. You can't take your foot off the pedal again, even against these lower teams, because every point to them is sacred, you know, to stay up. And we know what the Premiership means to every club. You know, it's the golden goose, isn't it? So they all need to step up. But I think that Johnson's going to be important today. I really do. But as I said, all of them need to be on their game in the Premiership now. You know, if you're not on it, you're going to lose games.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Nick, obviously, a big team like, say, a Man City or a Liverpool would be going into this game thinking, we should be winning this. Spurs should really be going in confident of winning this game.
Yeah.
I know that Burnley are going to play a low block, and that has caused us problems in the past, but we should have enough quality to get through this, shouldn't we?
We should. I mean, we should, but really, from the last 4 games that we've watched, our only real attacking threat has been Kudus off the right. And that's what worries me the most. That brings up a question too. I know that we've seen Sarr and to great ability shoehorned into a 10 role, but my question is actually, is it going to be Sarr in the 10 or will Bergvall actually be playing more in the 10? Because we know that Bergvall also has attacking ability and Sarr also has the nailed on skills of a number 8. I think possibly it may be a little bit switch there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're both playing advanced. They're doing a little bit of Ange ball where they're playing twin 10s or twin attacking 8s, something like that. We need more attacking threat from the midfield in trying to break these teams down rather than the solidity, I guess, that we saw against PSG. So I guess that's why he's going with this kind of youth setup. I don't think any Spurs fan who's been watching Spurs, at least for the last 20 years, is going into anything with a new manager, without Son and Kane, with full confidence of anything, really.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we should be winning it right now, but we're not at the match the score predictions yet. But it'll be interesting to see what the chat has to say about that. And just to wrap it up a little bit on Bergvall, I think Bergvall's great, and there's a lot of people in the chat right now who think that he's going to be the key to it, and I think he's got all the ability to it. The only problem is I don't think he thinks within his box too much. He's got to start thinking outside of the box. He's got all the ability, the skill, the technical ability, and the drive. However, he does what he's told. And I saw that from preseason last season, where he first stepped on the pitch. It was clear to me, Andrew was telling him, you know what, get the ball, make your turn, drive forward, look for your man up there. The problem was that nobody else was doing what he was expecting to do. So he would get up, get forward, look around, and there would be nobody in position, nobody making the runs. And he then had to revert back to what everybody else is doing, which was horseshoe football. And we saw a couple of times, particularly one time in particular in the preseason, he picks up the ball on the left-hand side and he's expecting Spence to make the run, right? But Spence isn't on his bike. Spence is a little bit slow off the gate, but Bergvall's still expecting him to make the overlapping run. So he's looking for that and waiting too long, and by the time he needs to make a decision, the defense is up his butt already. Now, if he would have said, you know what, Spence hasn't done what I need to do, I gotta think of something else, make a kick forward, take it back, even go backwards with the pass or something like that, he wouldn't have lost the ball. And he wouldn't have been getting so many complaints. So I want to see him be a little bit more creative when the plan's not working.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I'm going to put this to you, Chang. I don't think this is the case at all. I don't think we've prioritised the Super Cup over the Premier League. I think every game requires different players, different skills and different lineups. We did say when we signed Paulinho, I think as a fan base, we all accepted he wouldn't be needed for every single game.
Yeah.
I mean, Chang, you're not of the belief, surely, that we prioritise the Super Cup over this game?
Sorry, I had to switch my microphones there. I mean, honestly, this actually does put things into perspective in terms of where our priorities lie, whether be it silverware in a somewhat glorified friendly or even a community shield of sorts in a European level. And for me, I mean, that game is done and dusted. For me, I think the priority now lies with getting a good start to this new season and giving the fans value for the money with everything that we've invested in Thomas Frank so far, and also on the players from seasons past. And for me, I think right now the only thing that needs to be looked at is improving our league form. That I think would go a long way to sort of quelling any doubts any of the fans still have on Thomas Frank's, his ability to lead us forward. And absolutely cannot wait to experience those glory nights at the lane on a Wednesday or Tuesday night. And I think this is just the beginning. I really do hope this really is just the beginning. Hopefully we will have some new additions to our squad to really, spearhead our league charge forward. And I'm sure we will be forgetting about that Super League, the Super Cup defeat in no time, Miss Kate. Having said that, back to you.
Yeah, I've got to touch on someone, Jimbo, that I'm going to obviously bring you in on because I know you're a fan. I'm one of Richarlison's biggest critics, but I've got to give him his dues. He was excellent against PSG. He held the ball up superbly, did everything he needed to do except score a goal. Could it be? Probably not, but could it be that Richarlison's turned a corner, or is the main worry about keeping him fit? I mean, he does look super fit at the minute, but we all know that he is prone to injury. What looks like he's not going anywhere. So, what's your thoughts on Richie?
Well, if you can keep Richie fit, he is an asset, Kate, because he does hold the ball up well, and he will. If he gets a few goals, with Eze coming in and Silvino. We've got Kudus, he get more of a supply. If he can score a few goals, and then his confidence will get up, but he's keeping him fit. And that's the problem. If we can keep him fit, I mean, he was superb against PSG, absolutely superb, and that's what you can get out of him. And he had his snapshot. I've said this to you for I don't know how long, Kate, but if Richie doesn't need to think, right?
Yeah.
He's such a good footballer. But I think when Richie gets time and he has to think about things, that's where he gets he comes unstuck. But look, I'm just I get behind all our players, even if they're not great players. I just one of these people that I get behind them. Like I can see people saying about Gray, but I think Gray could turn out to be a very good player for us, and I think under Frank, he'll learn a lot. And the same with Bergville. Saar, we can see a difference in Saar in a matter of weeks. Under Frank. So I think what we need to do is just lay off him a bit. Johnson as well. Just lay off him a bit and let Frank work with them and see where we are in a couple of months. 2 or 3 months with them. And our job as supporters is not to hate them; it's to get behind them and support them.
Exactly.
Hence the word supporters. So let's see what we got a proper manager now. This guy, I love this manager. I think he's got it up here when it comes to football. And we've seen what he's done with Brentford, with their players. If he can do that with our players, we're laughing, especially with the ones that are meant to be coming in. So I say get behind them, support them, and let's see what Uncle Frank can do with them.
Exactly. And look, if you look at the stats, Richarlison's stats for goals are better than Solanke's. But I mean, I saw you nodding away, Nick. Are you a Richie fan? I mean, what's your thoughts on him?
I mean, I like him, and I think he's very effective when he has time on the pitch, and we've seen it now. He's had a couple of games under his belt, and he looked terrible in a couple of them a couple of weeks ago. But as he's progressing, as he's got more time in pressure situations, he starts to perform and produce, and that's he's done that since he's been here. It's just we can't keep him on the pitch. So we heard Frank say one of the first things he said when he came to the club was, "I like Richarlison. I think he can be effective." So I'm not totally surprised that he's still here right now because he clearly wants to stay and fight for his place. I don't think he's the main man, but I think he can be very, very effective if he's turned the corner as far as injuries go. I'm much more worried about what are we going to do about Johnson and how he fits into this. I'm actually really much more worried about Kulusevski when he gets back in, but that's a conversation for another time. But I'm more concerned about Johnson, and just as I was reading through the chat, it dawned on me, does Johnson need to step up, or is it really that Frank needs to figure out how to use him correctly? And that may be, that if Frank is if Frank is who we hope he is, maybe that's really what needs to happen, because is Johnson going to learn? Is he going to change his stripes? I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody brought up their Spence marauding up and down the left side. When they've been working together, I've never really loved it. when they've been on the same, and that's mostly been on the right. But if Spence does have the run of the whole left side, and Johnson is playing more as the inside forward off the left, that could be something that's dangerous, is with him and Richie working together in that way, and kind of like crunching up that midfield and just hoping for rebounds, what have you.
Yeah,
I think.
Go on, Jim.
Sorry, Kate, that's why we're talking about Johnson. I think the problem with Johnson, right? I think he's lazy. I think he needs to step up his work rate. And there's definitely a footballer in there, but I think that he's a bit lazy. But the thing is, he's not going to get away with that with Frank. Frank doesn't stand lazy players. He's going to have to work to stay in his team. And if he doesn't, he won't get in the team. So it's down to him.
The thing is, I look at Johnson and I kind of agree with Nick. I don't think anyone's utilised him where he needs to be. And I remember saying the same thing about Kulu, because I was never a Kulu fan until they put him in the middle. And I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. I think we need to find where Johnson fits. And I don't think we found it yet. But if we do bring in the likes of Eze and Savinho, all these players, they're going to have to really fight for their position in the team, which is what we want. But I don't know where Johnson fits into this team. I really, honestly don't. I mean, Chang, what's your thoughts on Johnson? A lot of people say about him being a second striker. I mean, what do you think?
Honestly, if we can just utilize him the same way Big Ange used him in the first season, which is to use him more of a super sub coming off the bench when everyone else is flagging, that for me makes much more sense. I mean, the moments we get Savinho or even Eze, I can see Johnson's time to be rather limited unless he were to reinvent or redefine what he does on the pitch for us, because for me, he still is best utilized coming off the bench. That for me, I think would be the best way to get the most out of him. And I mean, that's just Johnson. We haven't even talked about some of the other players that we still have on our books, like Manor Solomon, whom I'm not sure we will ever see again in a Spurs shirt. But as far as Johnson is concerned, for me, he's best utilized coming off the bench as a super sub, and we have seen that happen the first season. That came to good effect. Last season, he had to step up when injuries came to the likes of Kulusevski and Madison, which I think is going to be a similar team to the start of this season. So let's just wait and see if Johnson is going to be, helping us to go forward, because otherwise, Thomas Frank then does have to do something about it. And the way I see it, yeah, for me, Johnson, he's good for now, but the moment something else better comes along, you can bet your bottom dollar that Johnson's going to be warming that bench. Having said that, back to you, Miss Kate.
I can see that Johnson divides a lot of people. There's some people sticking up for him, and some people not. Look, if anybody has watched me on any channel, when it comes to Johnson, I always stick up for him because I think there's a good footballer in there, and I said that from the first day that he come.
We saw him at Forest, and he looked so good there.
But I do think that there's if you're going to play for Frank, you've got to be more than a goal scorer. Right, he expects you to do more than that. So I think that he's going to have to work harder, Johnson. And look, I stuck up for him last season. People said he was lazy, but I said he puts the goal in the ball in the back of the net, and that's what we needed last season massively. But under Frank, we're going to need more than that from each player. So let's see how he does. Look, Frank wanted him at Brentford, so he sees something in him. So let's see, he might turn him around into a fantastic footballer. I mean, when you look at Wissa and you look at Embremo, they're really hard-working goal scorers, and maybe that's what he had turned Johnson into.
Before we go into score predictions, obviously it's come out this week, Nick, that Spence has signed a new contract till 2029.
Yep.
I'm hoping, I don't know what you think, that when Udogie is fit, he doesn't walk straight back into this team, because I think that's so unfair on Spence. I think I might be controversial when I say this. I think Spence, for me, brings more to the team than Udogie, but I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
Who, me?
No, I said Nick, but he's gone off wandering.
I wondered. I was showing you who's on the back of his shirt
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
just see that.
So listen, I think much in the way of what we're seeing today with the midfield, I think Frank is this is where tactical ability comes in, because he's going to use these players to the best of the ability. I think today, in this match against Burnley, Udogie would have been a better choice, frankly. I think he provides more going forward. Frankly. I love Spence. Just so you know, I'm getting that black kit with Spence on it. Right? That's the next time in London, that's what I'm doing, because I think very, very highly of him, and I think he's come through a lot. However, I don't think he provides the creativity that Udogie does in certain circumstances, and I don't think at this stage with the new manager, I don't think it should be on merit. I think it should be on how are we going to win this game and who's going to give us the best chance of winning this game. If Udogie was fit right now, I would be playing him right there. Now,
Interesting.
Whereas City, not so sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's different players for different games. But it is that time of the show where we want to know what your score predictions are. We've got one straight away, excuse me, with Neil Daniels saying 4-0 to Spurs. We've got Football 123 saying 5-0 to Spurs. Jin Sherry is saying 3-0 Spurs. Kudus to score. What a player this guy is going to be for us. The last agent says 3-1 Spurs. Malware says Bergvall, Romero and Johnson to score. 3-0 Spurs. A lot of confident score lines coming in, Mr. Chang. What's your thoughts on today's game, and who do you think is going to be putting the ball in the back of the net?
I think it's going to be a KG encounter as always. The way we start our season, and seeing as how I'm expecting Burnley to deploy their low block, I think the game is going to be won and lost by that odd solitary goal to separate both teams. I am still very much going to stick with my 2-1 prediction from our weekend preview on Thursday. And for me, seeing that lineup, I have a good feeling that Richarlison is going to get our first goal of the new season. And the other goal is going to come between either one of probably Bergvall, Kudus, or even Johnson. For me personally, I would love nothing more than to see Kudus score on his debut. That I think would be a dream debut.
Yeah.
A dream debut for Kudus would be having his his first goal in Lily White at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in our opening game of the new season. So yeah, I would very much love to see Richarlison get his first goal of the campaign, and Mohamed Kudus probably to get his debut goal in his first league game for us. Having said that, back to you again, Miss Kate.
Lovely. Let's Dragon says 4-0 Spurs. Richie, Romero, Johnson and Kudus to score. 3-1 Spurs says Clayton, Kudus, Richie and Porro. Love it. A lot of people tipping Richie to score on this one. A good solid 2-0 to Spurs, says Paul. Daniel says 2-0 Spurs. Sardinio and Richard.
Yeah.
I was looking at it thinking, I don't know who that player is. So,
He's a new signing.
3-0 Spurs, Sar and Brennan again. Ole. Yeah. Porro is fast becoming my favourite player and scores today, says Steve D. Look, I love Porro. I always have loved Porro. Yeah. Nick, what's your thoughts on the score and the scorers today?
So unfortunately, I think it's going to be a tight 2-1. I think we are going to get it over the line, but it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be cagey with defense against defense in particular, and I think it's going to be Richie from a set piece. And I'm up in the air whether it's going to be another Sar boy coming late in the box with a deflection goal. That's where I'm going. I'm going Richie and Sar boy.
I like it. I like this as well. Set piece again. Ole. Shemtan saying 3-0 Spurs. Porro, Sar and Kudus. Natalie is saying 3-0 Tottenham win. I've said 2-0. I'm sticking with 2-0. I'm praying and hoping that we keep a clean sheet. I think our defence looks solid. So I'm going to stick with my 2-0. And my goal scorers, I'm going to say Romero from a corner. And I'm going to say Pedro Porro from a corner, whipping it straight into the goal. He nearly did it in pre-season. I fancy it's coming today. Lewis is saying 7-0 to Spurs. Elku is saying 2-0 Sart and Kudus to score. The news from Eze is that he has told Crystal Palace he wants to leave and wants it done as soon as possible. And it's all looking very positive, according to Fabrizio Romano. 4-0 Richie hat-trick. 4-1 says Lewis. Jimbo, what do you fancy?
Well, first I want to say that to have Spence and your doggy in our team is what a lovely problem to have. You know, which one to play. And look, Spencer's got, I think, maybe a little bit over your doggy because he can play both sides just as well as he can play left or right, and he plays just as well on both sides. In fact, I think he's probably a little bit better on the left. But what a nice problem. They're both really good players, and I think we're lucky to have them too. Score 4-0 for me. Clean sheet. Why are you laughing?
You always have to go that little bit further. Go on, Jimbo. Who's scoring?
4-0 for me. Clean sheet. I think Richie will score today. I think Johnson will score today. I think Sarr will score today. And I think someone's going to get a double, you know, which one I'm not sure. I think I might go with Richie to score 2 today.
So Richie Brace, that would be nice. Be interesting to see who gets the long throw-ins as well, because obviously Danso isn't playing.
That was my other point I was thinking I was going to say. Why Danso's not playing, and he's very strong on someone having a good throw. So I'm wondering if there's someone else in his team that's got a good throw. We'll find out today.
Well, you know what? If we go 2-0 up early, something like that, does anybody think that Frank may just say, hey, you know what? We're putting in extra center back right now. We're just going to hold it down and try to hit him on the break. I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, we got criticised quite a lot against PSG for being too defensive, but I don't give a monkeys if we win. I think sometimes you need to do that. We saw with Ange, how many times were we winning and then we ended up, I know that we lost to PSG in the end, but you know what I'm saying? We couldn't hold on to that lead, and I'd be quite happy if we're 2-0 up and he brings on a Danso. But look, a lot of people saying that Gray shouldn't be starting. I say get behind the lad. He's only a young man. You know, he's learning his trade, much like Tell. It is frustrating at times, but we've got to try and get behind him and see how they get on. Johnson again and Sarr in a 2-0 win. I'd like to see that. Villa ended up 0-0. Interesting.
0-0. The thing is with these young players, Kate, right?
Yeah.
Frank's going to be working with them, and he's going to be working hard with them, and he's going to have people working one-on-ones with them. So they need to play. If he's working with them, it's no good working with them and not sticking them in a team. You know, so this is a good game to put a couple of youngsters in. You know, he's not gonna put Gray in against City. He's not gonna put Gray in against Arsenal.
Right.
You know, Liverpool. So this is the right game to put them in and see how they get on. But he's gonna be working hard with them. That's for sure.
At the end of the day, we need to rotate. We always cry about it, and this is what we need to do. We need to rotate and play the kids in certain games and rest Polinia in certain games. We can't just play the same every single week. 4-0 says Sean. Yeah, exactly. 4-0, we got 4-1s. But look, that's coming to the end of the show. Yes, that is Big Vic on the wall behind me. It's a nice signed picture of him there. I always feel we're in safe hands when Vic's behind me. I know if I happen to fall off my chair, he'd catch me.
He'll
at least parry you into the front yard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm in the bedroom.
Oh, please stop. We're coming to the end of the show. Before we go, obviously, thank you very much to Chang. What's going on, Chang, over at Spurs Diehards?
So Spurs Diehards, I'm told they will be doing a game review later on tonight from between 9 to 10 British time, and there will be a weekend roundup tomorrow as well on Sunday night, also between 9 to 10. And apart from that, I hope I can do episode 16 of Jose and Chang over on LTL Cockerel tomorrow. That should be coming up around noon British time. So yeah, that's all that's going on with me and also Spurs Diehards. Come on, you Spurs, get behind the players and if anything, enjoy the game. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. I'll see you next time. Chang over and out from Southeast
Exactly.
Asia.
Nick, anything happening with you?
Oh man, just the usual, just me banging around the block complaining about the weather, man. You see me on Irish Hotspur every once in a while, or with you and Jimbo whenever somebody cancels, man. I'll be right in there. Listen, who's doing the watch along today on We Are Tottenham TV?
Do you know what? They haven't told me, because obviously the boys are at the game, so they haven't actually told me who the watch along is. But I'm gonna have a guess that it's probably Ash and Marlon from Spurs Kings.
That's always a good watch. That's always a hilarious watch right there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Ash Marlon and Deji did a superb job in the PSG watch along, the three of them. So, but look, Nick, you know the invitation on
Breaking
here.
news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news! We've just had a here we go. We have a here we go. We have a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. Everybody, hang on.
You are joking.
Sorry.
Chang.
Sorry. It was a fake account. I am so very sorry to have done this to you. I really thought it was the real deal. But it looks
Chang,
like
there are nearly 400 people that have to change their underwear right now.
Do you know what? You nearly give me a heart attack. Thank God I've got 10 ladies on, Chang.
Harry Kane's back at the club.
The latest.
Okay, I'm going to shut up for the rest of the
That's
show.
good. Listen, we all drop a clanger every once in a while, buddy.
There's not a here we go, but that's the latest news. That talks are progressing. Eze said yes, and he wants to move this month. Chang out. Chang, you're just checking everyone's awake. It's fine.
That's right.
But what I was saying, Nick, is that you're always welcome on the pump ups. We like to have you from the other side of the pond with your opinions. So you're welcome back anytime that you're free. If you want to subscribe to Jimbo and I, there is our site as well. We're back on Monday at 12:30 for just to catch up with the weekend's football. And then every Friday we have Chang on and Jess as well from Jess Talks Football to do the not the pre-match, Premier League preview. So, but thank you to everyone who's watched. I hope everybody enjoys the match. I hope that
what a changer.
We all got changed. Big up Tigaro. Absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I started sweating, Chang. Honestly. Makes a note on the pad. Never invite Chang again. Thank you to everyone for watching. Jimbo, you want to end the show?
Yeah, get behind the boys, even the young ones, because today we're going to go out there and we're going to smash them 4-0. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.